Good afternoon, my friend John Donovan.
Hey, Marty Keller.
Welcome all our viewers to the podcast, the Intentional Living podcast, with myself, Marty Keller, and John Donovan. We are on a journey here to discover about how we can break patterns of behavior that occur when I say, I don't want to do that in my mind, and I do it anyway. Dealing with that compulsive voice that sometimes seems to be in charge of us in spite of our conscious mind, our conscious voice. And there's something about the way that we're structured as human beings, the way we've grown up, the way our childhood developed, that is where these compulsions may live. And so the intentional living process, something that John developed many years ago, is a way to get at the subconscious control mechanisms that sometimes, as I said, seem to take us over, and to figure out a way to, rather than fight them, befriend them and transform them into something much more powerful based on what we consciously desire. So the intentional living process is done in group, and at the end of the podcast, I'll share with any of you how you can join a group process and learn how to do this, learn how to do the process yourself. So the one of the things that John and I have been slowly working through is there's a list of principles that are kind of undergird the practice itself. The practice as a practice is actually very simple, and it has to do with telling the truth about what's going on with us in a given moment. I'm angry, I'm resentful, I'm scared, whatever, and feeling the feeling that comes along with that awareness. And it's always something in our body. It's often in our gut, our belly. Sometimes it's also in our face.
hmm
Sometimes it's in our arms or limbs. Sometimes in our heads. And just feeling that, take a breath and ask ourselves what we want. Do we want this feeling or do we want something else? And if it turns out we want something else, we say, I want to feel happy. I want to be kind. I want to take it easy with myself. And we just simply formalize that by speaking it as an intention. I intend to be kind. I intend to feel peaceful. I intend to take care of myself, be easy with myself. And that's the process. Now, that may seem simple, and it is simple, but it ain't easy. And I worked at this for a long time before it started to become natural to me. And so, but that's the outline of what we do here. We're looking at changing, dealing with this internal compulsive voice that is left over from childhood and sort of integrate it into our adulthood.
Yeah, yeah.
So, before we start taking a look at the principles, maybe you have something you'd like to share with people about what we do here too.
We um, present the problem. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm a pattern of behavior that I can't seem to pull myself out of. Um, then we talk about the mechanism that keeps us in a pattern of behavior, um, and then finding a way out. The core issue, according to Gabriel Mate, and I'm glad he said it when he said it because this is my belief before I heard him say it, is unresolved trauma, complex post-traumatic stress, um, produces behaviors in a person that are not rational. If a person coming home from a war zone locks himself in his room with a bottle of vodka, doesn't come out for 2 weeks, everybody says, oh, he's got post-traumatic stress. And yet, as a whole, as a society, well, I'll speak about myself. I was raised in a household that had dysfunction, alcoholic father, codependent mother, and there was a lot of violence and screaming and yelling, and that was traumatic. So I owned my post-traumatic stress, complex post-traumatic stress, and anything I do in the present moment that is discordant or I'm finding difficulty changing that pattern, I go to the source, which is in the subconscious where the trauma is held, and address the trauma. And that's what we do here. And in a, I don't know if I said nutshell, but it's simple, and yet in my perception and what I do is talk about the different ways that it manifests and talk about the mechanism and offer ways out. And we've been doing this podcast for, oh, you can tell me 4 years.
5 years,
And
John.
okay, 5 years. And we keep talking about how to break the patterns of behavior uh, because it took me years in recovery just to recognize the pattern of behavior as and owning it and moving through it. So I'm going to do the best I can to give this information to as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time, so it quickens their recovery process. You know, that the people practicing what we're calling an accountability tree or intentional living practices have demonstrated remarkable shifts in their life.
It just occurred to me before we go to the principles, based on what I heard you just say, it might be worth taking a minute or two, if you're open to it, to help people understand why it takes so much time. What's the, there's something, there's something inside of
Um,
us that seems stubborn, but it's that way for a reason, isn't it?
yes. Um, um, we live in a society where um, talking about spirituality, we do it in groups, talk about spirituality, and seeing ourselves as, I can take it from the Catholic perspective, that I need an intercessory, like the priest, between, and yet my need to continue to go to confession is always there. Luckily for me, it was every week because if it wasn't there every week, I would, if I died, I was going to hell. Um, and it's disempowering. And I'm not saying anything against the Christian faith that believe in God or Christ, or I'm just saying that how it's presented is not effective. Um, so we don't talk about um, that there's something wrong with me. So I talked about owning that I have post-traumatic stress. Well, okay, in this society, that's stigmatized as a mental health condition. Well, I no, I'll figure this out. I'll get it right. I have willpower. I can work some pattern of behavior. I can even change the pattern of behavior. I stopped drinking, which I thought was the problem. And once I stopped drinking, then everything I had been avoiding through the drink was now in my face. And it's like, well, how come not everybody's happy? I quit drinking. It's like everybody should be happy and leave me alone. But I wasn't looking at primary cause for the drinking. Um, and that's what this intentional living accountability process addresses, is subconscious complex post-traumatic stress. Was in a dysfunctional home, and I want to say 14 years as a child. 14, 15, I started becoming a young adult, influenced by this dysfunction, not knowing it was dysfunction. So don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. So I grow up and I don't want to talk about anything other than I'll fix it. I'll get it right the next time. Instead of seeing oh, I have complex post-traumatic stress. And again, I want to use the military as an example. If a guy comes back from a combat zone, we say because of his behavior, whether it's hearing a loud noise and dropping to the ground, that's post-traumatic stress. And yet, when I do an avoidant behavior like leave a relationship because I and we use all these things to blame things on instead of bringing it back to how I participate in this process. And for me, in fact, we even say, I created all this based on a need to survive with the same atmosphere or conditions I survived as a child. Now, what do I mean by that? If I was in an adrenaline state as a child, the majority of time, not all the time, then for me to survive in the present moment, my subconscious creates situations where I'm going to survive. So in the Adult Journal of Alcoholics 12-step material, they say we recreate the body chemistry of our childhood for survival purposes. Now, this is not rational. It's like, oh, what do you mean by that? Well, I give examples and we talk. You and I talk over and over again about the processes of, we talk about the problem, how the problem looks, how I'm stuck in a pattern. And we talk about the tree or saying the truth as a healing tool so that my behaviors can change in a consistent way instead of sporadically. I could not drink during my drinking days for like 3 months at a time. So I told, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't drink for 3 months. So I'm not an alcoholic. Well, okay, oh, cool. And I'm still struggling with compulsive behavior, taking things personal, um, and just struggling with life. So people come to us with a dilemma, with a something in mind to. Actually, I came in to the 12 step thinking I wanted to fix something. Well, I discovered in the 12 step program that there's nothing to fix, just ownership, just saying the truth about where I find myself. And then being with people like minded who wanted something different. My first experience was AA, and then it was Adult Children of Alcoholics, which are a group of people come together wanting to look at and reconcile the dysfunction given to them by their parents. And we actually realize that it's not just our parents, it's intergenerational passing down of dysfunctional behaviors. Um, so outside of that circle, there's not too many conversations about, oh, how did I participate in this chaotic situation? Or say, let's use a Thanksgiving dinner. How did I participate in the chaos that was created in the Thanksgiving dinner? People were um, arguing, or old stuff was brought up, and the same old thing happened, and people go away angry, or people get drunk. In my case, people get drunk and start fights. And so we're trained not to address the issue. We're trained to blame and judge, either judge ourselves as incapable, there's something wrong with me. People are assholes and they just take, quit being assholes, everything will be fine. Instead of, how am I participating in the life I'm experiencing? Because I do. I mean, that was an epiphany for me that in my relationships, the arguments that we had wasn't about I'm stupid, they're stupid, they need to be fixed. I was being accused. It was about my capacity for intimacy, for my ability to move through conflict with grace. Um, um, I
Well,
don't know if that helps.
with it, if I could just uh, elaborate a little bit, it's not just move from my perspective. It's not just in relationship to be able to move through controversy with grace. It's also to be able to move through it with self-confidence and compassion.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
all of these things, grace, self-confidence, compassion, are not what we experience as children in any kind of consistent way. And
No.
so the
No.
the thing I like to emphasize to the newcomer here is that in our childhood, in our infancy, you're born and you come home, most of us, and we are subject to the emotional environment of our parents 24/7. There's no relief and
Yeah.
there's no external intervention. This is what we have to assume is quote normal end quote. And so day after day after day,
Right.
we're ingesting, we're imbibing, we're pulling in, we're soaking in like a sponge this this emotional environment that two people have created and oftentimes they're not aware that they're creating an emotional environment. And so part of the reason why this is stubborn from my perspective is that for year after year after year, maybe all the way to that 14-year period that you just talked about, but certainly until we go to school, till we leave the environment, we're being formed by this way of being that our parents are living. And if that way of being has any kind
Right.
of has if that way of being has any kind of emotional um, challenge for mom and dad, then we're just simply soaking in the emotional challenge and we're living it. And so part of
Hmm.
the reason that this is so stubborn from my perspective is that it's all we knew for years and years and years. And until something could
That's all we knew.
intervene and help us see a different way, we just simply, in our subconscious mind, we simply reinforce, we see it this way, and everything that happens, we reinforce it with the, see, that's the way things are. And
Yes.
many of us
Now,
don't, I'll just say, and many of us don't get the grace to see it somewhat differently in a way that calls our attention.
yeah. Until we hit bottom, um,
Exactly.
or seek help. So I sought help, and I had no idea what they could offer me. I just found myself sitting there because I was at a loss. I'm done. I don't know. I need help. And then all this new information started coming in. I can give an example of what I didn't get in my childhood was being nurtured and mirrored from my parents so that I didn't develop those things just because when I had an outburst as a child, infant, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, we even in our society, we call it the terrible twos. Well,
Right.
no. Oh, terrible twos. Well, oh, we gotta like stop that. Make sure that they don't grow up and go to jail. It's like my grandson was 2, and he went through this process of individualizing from his parents. We knew that when he was going through it. So his saying no was appropriate. I hear you say no. I see you're frustrated. I see you're angry. And mirroring for him what was going on in his body so he could learn what's going on in his body, get it validated, and then start to regulate himself. One day I walked in, he was 4 or 5 years old, and he said, "I don't want you here." And I go, "Oh, I'm hearing you say you don't want me here. I see you're frustrated." And I knew that when I showed up, his mom was going to leave. So he was like, didn't want his mom to leave. So he wanted me to go home. And the only thing he could figure out is that his mom wouldn't leave if I went home. So he said, "I don't want you here. I want you to go home." I did not take that personal. Now, if I'd have said that to my dad or somebody, I'd have got, "Who the hell you think you are?" I got a backhand. I got sent to my room. You stubborn, you sassy. No, that I my grandson is learning through my mirroring how to regulate his emotions. He gets to go through all these, and I'm still with him without punishing him for it. Not that I just let him go on and on and on. I'm firm. I'm there. I say no, and we move through it without punishment, without me
Violence.
redefining his reality, without violence. And so he learned. He's one of the most polite little kid. He's 10 now. I would go to the grocery store. He's saying hi to people. I took him out to eat dinner one time, and he spent the whole time talking to this young man at the counter where we started, just playing games with him. He is authentic. He's spontaneous. He loves talking to people. I didn't go, "Hey, I bought you dinner. How come it's sitting here? How come you're not eating? What's the matter with you? Why are you?" No, he was in his authenticity. He was like having fun talking to this guy, and the guy was actually genuinely interested in what he was saying to him. They had this little toy, this little balance toy that they were playing with. Um, and he spent the whole time with that guy talking, and I ate my thing, got his thing ready to go, and we left. It's like I didn't take that personal. Like, "Oh, he doesn't love me. He's not sitting down with that because I bought him dinner." No, he's a 10-year-old boy exploring the world, feeling and recognizing his voice and his. He's just a friendly, polite individual, a very compassionate individual. And when he was 2, 3, 4, 5, he didn't get punished because he didn't know how to regulate his emotions. He got guided through and mirrored his emotions. So all this, every time we talk about intentional living, we talk about the barriers to what you say you want. The accountability tree is a healing tool to heal that subconscious trauma. We're actually doing for ourselves what our parents were unable to do. In Adult Journal of Alcoholics, they call it loving parent. Be your own loving parent. Well, how do you do that? When I'm in a pattern of behavior, instead of beating myself up and swearing I'll never do it again, I go, "Oh, I'm in a pattern of behavior, and that pattern of behavior right now, with me owning my behavior, is I'm being violent, or I just dismiss somebody." So I just say that I'm dismissive, and I hear myself, I witness myself in the dysfunction, and I'm not punishing myself. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not calling myself names. I'm just, "Oh yeah, this is where I'm at. Oh my God." That's blame-free, judgment-free. I'm mean, or I'm being dismissive. I just dismissed you. Oh, my intent is to be kind and pay attention next time we talk, or as we're talking now. I'm going to choose to pay attention. One of the simple things that I can give as an example. Before I knew this, if I were watching TV and somebody was talking to me, I'd talk to them and watch TV. Well, I've learned that that's dismissive. If that person is important to me and they're talking to me, I actually look at them and talk to them and see what's going on, and engage with them. Before, I thought I was engaging with them, and and then they get mad at me, and I go, "Oh, you don't ever listen to me, or you don't care about me." All this excuse and blame and judgment, where no, I see I haven't learned just the guidelines. There's a book, Everything We Needed to Know. We learned in kindergarten. Hold hands when you cross the street. Say please. Say thank you. I mean, it's just a phenomenal book. It was early in my recovery that I read it, and that's pretty much what we're doing here. Only we're working at. I'm okay. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm at. I'm broken. I need to be fixed. Okay, let's talk about this. About what do you? If you say you're broken, that infers there's something wrong with you. Okay, you're not broken. In fact, you're working perfectly. Only you're working from old information from your family of origin, and there's a mechanism in you that wants you to survive, and you survive doing all this. So it's going to create a situation where you do all this again, even though it doesn't work. It's like, ah, oh, that's my need to survive. Oh, well, that's reasonable. It hurts. It causes pain and separation and destruction. Oh, oh, I don't want that. I intend to be kind. I intend to be gracious. I intend to be a loving, caring, nurturing spouse, father, and participant in my community. In this awareness state, that I'm operating from a subconscious, unresolved trauma. Oh, what's reasonable that I yell and scream? Okay. And it hurts. See, I wasn't able to feel the hurt or the impact of my when I was blaming it or judging myself or trying to fix people. I actually felt the feeling tone of what I had created through the best I could, best information I had. This is how to solve problems. Is somebody comes to me with a problem, fix the problem for them. No. Oh, somebody comes to me with a problem. In other words, I could listen as they process through instead of fixing them. They're not broke. I've heard that listening is a powerful, powerful process of intimacy without fixing, just listening. Oh, oh well. Okay.
Um,
So
Before we wrap up, I want to just reflect something back that I heard that I think is worth saying again, or it's worth saying it in my words. You said, I heard you say that what we're doing here is we're learning to become our own loving parent.
yes,
And before you said that, you gave an example of doing loving parenting to your grandson,
yes,
Solomon.
yeah,
And that loving parenting in that particular example was reflecting to him without blame or judgment, just simply reflecting to him what you're observing in his behavior and his emotional state in a
yes,
way, and the purpose of that is to give him a sense that whatever he's doing or experiencing is okay. And that
it's
if
valid for him.
that's what I mean. So it's
Yes,
valid for him. And if
yeah,
it's causing problems in the relationship, then you can say, and we're not going to do it that way today, or
right,
however,
yes,
however
hmm
you would communicate that. So
right,
the reason what I want to point out is that the way we become our own loving parent is that we treat that inner child of ourselves the exact same way.
exact same way.
That
Yes,
that the accountability tree is that process.
yes,
So when I feel my frustration, I feel my anger, I feel my resentment, I allow myself to feel it. That's in essence, it's a validation of my adult consciousness, allowing that feeling state to just be present.
yes,
And I may not say those words. I may not say, "Oh, I see I'm angry." Although we've developed tools to do that. I give myself permission to be resentful is a
right,
version of that.
yes,
And then when I'm in that state, just like when Solomon was validated, then we can go to the next step. So what do you
yeah,
want? What do
yeah,
I want? I want to be calm. I want to be serene. I want to be happy. I want to
hmm
be joyful. I want to be self-confident, whatever it is. And then as I reparent myself, I give myself permission to now step into that stage. I intend to be kind. I
yeah,
intend to be happy. I intend to be self-confident.
yes.
So that's for me. I don't know how long it took me, John, to get the insight, but the accountability tree practice is a tool for reparenting.
Yes.
It's a tool for becoming my own loving parent,
Yeah.
to use the
Yes.
ACA terminology.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to have to leave it there because we're out of time. But as I said at the beginning
Yeah.
of the podcast, we do this work in group. John facilitates an intentional living meeting once a week. I facilitate, and two of our colleagues facilitate. All the meetings are on Zoom, and they're different times, different days, and the information will be at the end of the podcast, the specific times and how to access the Zoom room. So everybody's
Mhm.
invited. Please come. If you have questions about what we talk about here, you can bring them up at the meeting, or you can just come and observe people going through this process and learning how to do this reparenting that I wanted to do. I didn't know that's what I wanted, but I just wanted relief at the beginning.
Yeah.
I just wanted out of the torment of the voice in my head that said, "You're going to hell in a handbasket, and there's nothing you can do about it." So, any last words before we wrap up?
Yeah. What I wanted when I first came in was how to tell the other person clearly that it was their fuck up. It's like you're going to teach me cooperative communication so that I can control you in a nice way so that you comply. That was my idea. It's like, okay, no, but that wasn't, oh my God, no, it's not about them, it's me. So,
Yeah. So now we learn about how to control ourselves so that we comply.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks as always for your time, John, and we'll do this again soon.
You got it.
Okay. Bye.